And more than 8,300 Democrats in the western part of the state are ditching the Democratic Party and registering to become Republicans this year. In total, nearly 40,000 statewide Democrats have switched to the GOP in 2022, compared to just over 12,000 going the other way.
Oh my God, that is actually really bad news for the Democrat. I mean, 40,000 and only 12,000 going to the right. I can understand why Fox News would focus so much on this, because the numbers are clear and the numbers tell a story. In this case, the numbers tell the story that they want you to believe. They want you to hear the number 39,000 and then discount that 12,000 who switched from the Republicans to the Democrats and believe that this is a terrible catastrophe for the Democrats. And look, anyone switching out of your party isn't great. But there are some added questions I would have upon being presented by those numbers. And in fact, I did have those. And so I looked at the numbers, which they mentioned in that clip, and then also in an article in the New York Post, which is helping to advance this narrative. 39,000 Democrats switched their registration in 2022. So they asked no further questions about that, except maybe to ask individuals in diners why they flipped and how bad the Democrats are and everything. And I get it, the Democrats are really bad. I understand why people would leave the party. But how significant is it? Well, I decided to look at the 2020 Pennsylvania specific vote, and Joe Biden got 3,458,229 votes. Along the way, by the way, and I can't stress this enough, he won the state, flipping it from when Donald Trump won it back in 2016. I know that's inconvenient for them to acknowledge, but Donald Trump lost in Pennsylvania. Do you know what 39,000 Democrats out of not the total voting population in Pennsylvania, but just the votes that Biden got is? It's 0.0078% of his support has flipped. Could it be important? Sure, in a super close election, maybe that would matter, but it would have to be pretty damn close. That is razor close for that to matter. And I tried to find out the answer to one more question. You know that like people switch parties every year, right? I mean, we would expect that things happen. There's news. Parties take certain positions, they try to do certain things, and then they don't, they fail, they succeed. All of this results in people changing their positions. Would you not be willing to bet that 0.0078% of every party switches every year? It's less than a rounding error. And yet, if you don't ask any of those questions, if you just take the number at face value, then, well, it looks like there's a big problem in Pennsylvania, Brett.
I mean, for me, when I look at this, I go, well, anytime you have a switch of someone, if they vote the other way, the flip is actually twice that, because one side loses and the other gains. It's like if I pay $500 less in rent, I'm gonna be paying than you. You're paying 1,000 more than me.
Yeah,
right.
You're right. So to be fair, then, assuming all of these people do vote, it's 0.015%. If you double the effect, yes.
And yes, this is just in Western Pennsylvania. This is the kind of freakish cherry picking that they're gonna do on Fox under the guise of doing something different than what the liberal media wants you to do. All this proves to me is that when you look at Pennsylvania, you look at the difference between certain polls and other polls, and the one that speaks volumes to me, if I'm a Democratic operative, the thing they should be shutting the hell up and listening to is individual political talent. And you have a huge political talent in Pennsylvania in John Fetterman running against Dr. Oz. And the Democratic Party, if they give a crap about winning, which I'm not convinced they do, need to lean into finding more people like that. Lean into the fighters who remind people of the old Democratic Party that they used to be a part of. One that fought for working class people every single day and did it make this weird, baffling, but explainable by campaign finance issues, neoliberal turn.
Yeah, 100%, yeah. So they did end up talking to some people. Beth Ann Rosica says she switched. I think the economy is huge. And I also think a lot of the school issues for parents across the state in Pennsylvania, it's just been horrific watching what's happened to our kids academically, socially, emotionally. I think you can probably fill in the blanks for the sorts of topics she's talking about there. All these failed policies have just really resulted in academic losses. So look, here's the thing. The number that have switched is largely irrelevant. So you might think, well, by focusing on this, You're being so defensive about the Democrats. No, I'm not surprised that some people are flipping. I'm actually shocked that it's not larger. I could have run those numbers and found that it was 5% of the vote. And I would say the reason they'd be switching is worth investigating, and not just by talking to two people in a diner who are Republicans, maybe looking at what promises were made by the party and to what extent did they make good on those promises. But the thing is, again, they will never interrogate this question in that way because they don't want to reiterate what got people to vote for the Democrats in the first place. The things that they have largely failed to do, we'll see with the IRA, but they've largely failed to do it. Focusing on that paints a very different picture of what gets you elected as a president than just saying something inflation.
For more political news breakdowns, interviews, stories of activism, and me trying my hardest to care about the occasional big celebrity news story, subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/The Damage Report. And you can ring the bell wherever it is so you don't miss anything.